Hi and welcome. Today we're going to look at some old plantation homes. Check out these beautiful ornate structures. You'll also notice many of these old world buildings are actually made of brick but are covered with a layer of white stucco. As we look at old maps, we often find cities and castles placed in times and places where they supposedly shouldn't exist. Take this 1593 map of North America, for example. It's titled Americae Pars Borealis, and it's covered in castle-like structures. You'll see the use of red coloring on the structures, which is consistent with old Spanish maps that I've seen, possibly indicative of red brick structures. At the bottom of the map, there's a small illustration labeled Inhabitants of Virginia. These figures are depicted in a way you won't typically see, fair-skinned, wearing indigenous apparel. The more you dig into this, the more unusual characters and depictions start showing up in older sources. For example, this is said to be a military leader for a Utah native tribe, looking nothing like what we would expect. If you're new to this kind of research, the basic hypothesis is that many structures were built by a previous civilization, one whose memory may have been erased through natural disaster and/or conquest. Here are some images from the World's Fairs of the late 1800s. We're told these massive and intricate buildings were temporary and torn down right after the events. Just by looking at them, it seems unlikely that they were temporary. I'm also curious about this quote often attributed to George Washington. Could it be a layered reference to cutting down the Cherokee? Is it possible that the native nations were greater than we are aware? Another element of this research is the idea that civilizations around the world have historically been more connected than mainstream narratives would have us believe. There's also this concept that many people we now call African Americans may have actually been pre-existing on this continent. Here is a blurb about the Washita Moors who believe this very thing. Now let's take a closer look at some of these plantation homes. You'll often see huge columns on expansive plots of land. They were used as residences for plantation owners. Here we have Longwood, a striking home with a Moorish dome and detailed brickwork. Next is Monticello, the famous residence of Thomas Jefferson in Virginia. We're told he designed it himself, and here's the sketch we're shown. The home was said to be built largely by enslaved people. Next up is called Dunleith in Mississippi. It's another brick structure, this one also covered in stucco. We're told it was constructed in just 2 years by enslaved workers and a few northern craftsmen, and as usual seems to be built to perfection. Finally, we have Rhodes Hall. Officially, it was completed in the early 1900s. The interior is just as impressive, with ornate ceilings and a grand spiral staircase. It makes you wonder why we had such great craftsmanship early on, and it seemed so easy to put these kind of things together. Just one of the reasons I think it's worth questioning what we're looking at. Thank you for watching, and have an awesome day.